Organizational meeting. Today's December 11. It's 6 p.m. and I see that all board members are present. So we'll move on to item 3, the swearing in of board members and administration of the oath of office.
Thank you. If I may have both of our board members. They were actually sworn in on December 4th, 2013 at the Cspa board workshop, but we are doing this as a ceremonial, but we do have the oath, and I believe Mr. Pomeroy had already captured it on an iPhone by another board member at another district. But if you could stand. Okay. Yes. And I believe we need to at least put our right hand up. Yes, thank you. If you could repeat after me. I, Vinson Bell,
John Pomeroy,
do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution
of the State of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter. Thank you. Congratulations.
John and Vinson, welcome, and I believe at this time it's appropriate to ask you to swap seats with our outgoing board members and ask you to come take your seats, please.
If we could at this time present the plaques that we have for our outgoing board members. Mr. Matt Smith, to honor your service to education, for outgoing member of the Board of Education, Temple City Unified School District, September 9th, 1998 through December 11th, 2013. Thank you.
Thank you, Chelsea.
And then this is to honor your service to education, Mr. Joe Walker, outgoing member of the Board of Education, Temple City Unified School District, December 14, 2005 through December 11, 2013.
I'd like to call a motion. Can I have a motion to reconvene the open session, please?
Yes, so moved.
Okay. Motion by member Ridley, second by member Nolenberg. All in favor? Aye. I hear 5-0. Tonight we have a pledge of allegiance led by member Ridley.
Please stand. Place your right hand over your heart and join me. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Announcement of actions taken in closed session. We did not take any action, so there's nothing to announce. Item number 9, public comments on agendized and non-agendized items. Do we have any requests? No? Okay. Item 10, update on district issues. First going to David James.
Nothing to say.
Instructional services.
We have two items. Wanted to let you know that this past Monday, we held a vendor fair with about 12 vendors who will be offering tutoring services to 2 of our schools who are in program improvement. And this is a requirement of program improvement that we have 2 rounds of giving parents the chance to solicit a tutor from an outside company, an outside vendor. So we were pleased to see that we had a good turnout, and parents have until tomorrow to turn in the application for which vendor they would like, and we'll come back to the board in January with an itemized list of which vendors and a contract so that you will know who is working with our students for after-school tutoring in math and/or in English. And also, we wanted to let the board know that the Smarter Balanced Assessment Field Test window has been given to us as a district, and it opens the week after spring break and it closes on June 6th. And so our students will be field testing the Smarter Balanced new assessment, and we'll keep you posted on how that goes.
Thank you. Personnel services.
Good evening, board members. I'd like to welcome both of our new board members to Temple City Unified. Just wanted to update the board. We did have our classified and certificated luncheon this afternoon, and it was an event well attended. Congratulations again to all of our recipients. I also would like to pass out the 2012-13 annual report of the Personnel Commission for your review, and the flyers are here for you. And I'd also like to let you know that I did get a chance to visit Longden this past week, and I have to tell you that Mr. Ferguson, I don't think he's here today, but he did a really excellent Elvis Presley as he was working with our kids and preparing them for a holiday event, so it was really fun to watch. And I'd also like to just tell all of our staff and families happy holidays because of the upcoming winter break that we all have. Thank you.
Thank you, Louis. Bargaining units. TCEA, Deb.
Just welcome new members.
CSEA 105, Robin. CSEA 823, Dave. Okay, student board member comments.
Thank you, Mrs. Chiet. First of all, I'd like to thank the district for allowing me to go to CSBA last week. Going to CSBA, I honestly did not know what to expect. I didn't even know what to pack. I didn't know how to dress. But anyway, it was definitely an interesting learning experience. I was able to meet other student board members throughout the state. And it definitely helped me understand my position more, and I'm very excited to utilize what I learned to help our students. Moving on, last week I was able to attend the elementary/middle school holiday concert where they did their own rendition of the Nutcracker, and the students did great. It was definitely a well-done production, so good job to the vocal arts program. And personally, I thought the performance itself was very adorable. And lastly, I'd just like to recognize Patricia Dull. She is currently in the Philippines competing as a part of the Philippines national women's soccer team. She plays as goalie, and she's only a junior in high school. She was chosen to play as part of the team in the summer, and she actually went over to the Philippines in September to compete, and now she's back there again, and she should be there for a couple of weeks. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Sabrina. On to board member comments. I'll start with Mr. Pomeroy.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Did my kids leave? Okay, good. They're doing homework, I promise. I have a list of things I wanted to say. This gentleman sitting to my right and we ran for these positions, but we never got to campaign, and we never really got to introduce ourselves. to the public, so I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce my friend Vinson Bell to you. No, I'm just kidding, actually. And I'm sure we'll hear this again, and that's been said many times before, and I'm not sure if they're still here, Mr. Smith and Joe Walker, Matt Smith and Joe Walker, obviously we want to thank them for their long years of service. And we have big shoes to fill, and I feel like I have a very important seat to fill. Before I talk about me, which might take a while, I also want to thank the district for sending me to the California School Board Association's event this past week. There was a one-day training orientation for new board members, what to expect and how not to freak out, and then 3 days of other meetings, all of which were very helpful. And I'm now going to tell you who I am and what I'm doing here. I grew up in Pasadena. I attended Pasadena Public Schools through elementary school. I went to Allendale, I went to Hamilton, I went to Jackson Elementary School. I started playing the violin at Jackson Elementary School in the 4th grade, which was an important moment in my life that my public school offered that to me. I attended Polytechnic School in Pasadena for junior high and high school, and ever since having that experience, Polytechnic, of course, has very solid academic opportunities, and I came out of that wishing for an environment that was larger, that had more of the kinds of activities outside of class that a school like, Temple City High School may have. And after that, I went on to the University of Virginia. I studied music. I got 2 degrees, including a master's degree in orchestral conducting, which explains why I'm now a lawyer. And I did go to law school locally at a university that starts with U and it ends with CLA. And thank you. I currently work for the District Attorney's Office, where I prosecute cases of elder abuse, financial, physical, neglect, etc. In the District Attorney's Office, I've been able to work on a lot of different kinds of cases, including cases involving children, whether as victims, or I've also worked in the juvenile court where there were minors who were the alleged offenders. I've worked on cases happening on school campuses. I've done a lot of different things. And I may bring just a little bit of knowledge, not so much knowledge, but just, since I'm in court every day, I was in court this morning, and so when we're here at our meetings, I hope to bring, not that there wasn't professionalism here before, but just add a little bit to it. I have been involved with AYSO soccer in Temple City for quite some time. I enjoy it very much. I hope to be able to continue. We'll see if I can balance that. I coach my kids because I want to set the tone for how their team is operated, and I don't want somebody yelling at my kid. And perhaps that may carry over in that, as school board members, it is the responsibility, I believe, of the 5 of us to set the tone for the district, and I look forward to participating in that. I am currently also a referee in AYSO, which is very exciting. I spend time in the middle of the field where I'm the focus of attention and people yell at me a lot. So you can draw your own conclusions as to whether that's good experience for being a school board member. And, people ask me why I would want to run or why I would want to be on the school board. And my short answer would be I don't believe that this school district is broken. Quite the opposite. I think this school district is excellent. And this is the place that I want my kids to thrive and continue to thrive. There are big challenges we face, some that the legislature have given us and some that, we don't know quite what they are yet, but I look forward to participating in that. I look forward to working with these other board members and education professionals, some of whom I've had a chance to work with a little bit, and I know I'll have a lot more time to spend, especially with these 4 folks to my right. Temple City is strong because of its values, and when I grew up in Pasadena, I should say that the one connection I have with the fine gentleman sitting next to me is that apparently we both bought baseball cards at the same store in Temple City at Kenrich Collectibles on Las Tunas. And although I'm not sure if I ever ran into him there, I may have. But Temple City today may not look quite the same as it did when I was buying baseball cards in the 80s. But I think one thing that's carried through is our values and the value that our community places on hard work, and that in this community, children grow up to know that they're not entitled to anything, but they get it because of their work. And, I see examples all the time of students from our district who are achieving amazing things, And right now I was going to read my list of some students who recently I learned were achieving amazing things, and I was preempted by our student board member. Thank you for mentioning her, because playing for the Philippine national women's soccer team is an unbelievable achievement. And I don't say that only as a soccer coach myself. And I learned about that looking at the high school's Rampage newsletter, which is online, and every one of you should look at it. And please pass on that. I think it's an amazing resource, and the writing is excellent. And in addition to learning about Patricia Dull, I also learned there about a young woman who is an oboist. She plays the oboe, which is a notoriously difficult instrument to master. And she received a scholarship to study at the Colburn School of Music downtown while she's still a student at Temple City High School, which is amazing. Let's see, I think I'm supposed to go down a long list of things that I've done in the district, so I'll just go through every event that I've been to before today. Starting when my daughter was in kindergarten. Recently I went to the Temple City High School Repertory Company's performance of Wild West Women, which was amazing. And I took two things out of that. Number one, I was amazed that they incorporated visually impaired students in the production. And secondly, that those actors deserve a better theater. I could talk a little bit more, but I just want to finally say that I really do look forward to working with these board members, and as a board collectively we have a lot to do. The legislature has given us some jobs to do to reach out to the public and the community in ways that we always want to do. I'm sure I certainly want to do, and now we have to do. And if we don't reach out to the community and get community input, then we get in trouble. You don't get in trouble, but we get in trouble. And so as we put together this accountability plan, which you'll be hearing more about, I just asked the community to participate. And you know, I've come to some board meetings and I've sat there and I've listened, and not always sure exactly what's going on, but now is the time where we really need to engage with the community. I was excited. I enjoyed the presentation regarding Common Core that happened at the high school a couple of months ago, and to me that was just the beginning of many such forums and meetings that we're going to need to have, and I look forward to having. So the two things I would ask from the community, all of you: number one, your input in constructive ways, because this is a democracy. You speak through us, and I need your input. And finally, I'm not sure if I can ask for this, but I'll do it anyway, which is for your patience. And I know that collectively we will do great things, and I'm very excited to be here. Thank you, President Tiet.
Okay, we're going down the line. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here this evening. And my friend Mr. Pomeroy here has saved me quite a bit of things, because he mentioned a lot of things that I was going to mention. I had an incredible experience at CSBA. I think it was a very helpful opportunity for us to really get the basics down as far as our responsibilities as board members and our accountability, not just to the students of this district, but also to the community at large. So we were able to attend a lot of interesting sessions and brought a lot of things back. And I wanted to touch on what Mr. Pomeroy said about city values. And as a former graduate of the high school, I was compelled to come back. And as a matter of fact, this was back in, I think, 2010 or something of that sort, and La Rosa Principal Michael Lynn invited me to attend a board presentation here on behalf of his school site. Well, it's 2 years later, so I'm sitting on the other side. I'm not sure how we got. No, I'm kidding. We know how we got here. But truthfully, I am very humbled by everyone in this community who works so hard for our children. And a lot of you folks, and you know who you are, have children that already graduated. But I see that investment in that community, and it drives me. It really, really does to do my share. So, and to my fellow board members, It's an honor to have this opportunity to be part of what I feel is going to be a very dynamic team, much like Mr. Pomeroy indicated, and I really hope to learn much from all of you. So please bear with us. And Mrs. Kang-Smith, thank you for having faith in what I stand for. Your wisdom and guidance throughout this is something that I will always value. And you will always have a friend in me. And to Ms. Lynn Burkhart, you're an invaluable asset to the district and to me personally, because without her, I would have ended up in a few wrong places. So I was very happy about that. And much like what Mr. Pomeroy wants to acknowledge is Mr. Matt Smith and Mr. Joe Walker. I personally as well felt that this was a more appropriate moment to acknowledge their years of stellar service and the sacrifices that they have both made on behalf of our students. Certainly it was not easy. And I feel that the best way for me to show my appreciation to them is to become a successful board member myself. So, and well, to the PTA members, which I'm very, very active of, and all the, as I mentioned, outlying communities, and well, you guys know who you are out here. I want to thank you for letting me be a part of all your groups. You know, with all the interesting adventures we have had over the years, you have shown me without the shadow of any doubt the strength we have in Temple City as parents and community members. So here's to many more years of fun and to the amusement of waking up the following day of an event and promising ourselves that we will never do this again. Well, I have two words for everyone, especially the ones that are with me at La Rosa and Cloverly. Grad night. That keeps me up at night. To all the teachers and staff who have opened their doors and allowed me to be a part of your classrooms and a part of your world, I want all of you to know how much that positive experience has inspired me to take on this challenge. It has made me understand the joy and the priceless emotion of knowing that we make a difference in the lives of our students. And so thank you. I sincerely hope to be more of a positive advocate and to inspire more parents to take on active roles in their children's education. And I'm almost done, but lastly, my most important message is to the student body at TCUSD. And I want you guys to believe in the impossible. I do want you guys to plan ahead, but I also want you guys to live for the moment. I don't want you guys to give up on your dreams, even during very difficult times. Take that leap of faith. And never let anyone tell you you can't accomplish your goals. And never lose your confidence, because really there's no such thing as failures, only iterations. And I'm very good at that, so I can help you there. Explore the world, because there's so much to learn. But remember to play with a strong sense of passion, because if you do, that is where you will find your true purpose. And never hold back your imagination and creativity. And I believe that crazy ideas are just a byproduct of divergent thinkers. This is your time, and you are the future. And I'm excited to see what you guys are going to do next. Whatever it is that you choose to do, know that everyone here at TCUSD is here to support you. Share with us not just your successes, but also your struggles, because that is how it's going to teach us to help on your behalf to prepare you for your future. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Bell. I guess I'll go next. It's my first go-round at being president, and I thank the board here for your confidence in electing me. Hopefully I can fill the shoes of Mr. Ridley and Mr. Matt Smith before me. My first official act was to call this meeting to order. My second one would be to state that every meeting will start with the 8 count. With an 8 clap. And those of you who attended UCLA knows what I'm talking about. all kidding aside, I want to thank Mr. Smith and Mr. Walker for all their years of service here, and wish everybody out there a wonderful holiday season, and welcome aboard Mr. Pomeroy and Mr. Bell. Thank you.
I'm probably going back to the old system of what we did. I'd like to welcome our 2 new board members, and hopefully everybody has a nice holiday season coming up, because we won't have another board meeting until after that. I also went to San Diego for the California School Board Association meetings, and there was 3 really special sessions, which were videoed or taped and are available online for those who want to watch them. Both the first 2, both of them are authors. Both of them have books out, which I have now purchased, but I haven't read. But one of the authors indicated not to worry about being outside the box. His conception is, don't worry about the box existing. Start thinking in terms of there is no limitations. Just start coming up with ideas that work. And the other person stressed the importance of gaming, and the concept of what gaming does for the mind and for the students who do gaming, and what ideas they come up with and what they can accomplish. The other things is I visited both Oak High School and Longden for the room visitations, and as usual, all of the rooms were decked with the accomplishments of the students in that. I'm very pleased with all the accomplishments that are seen and the performance of the teachers, even though we spend only maybe 5-10 minutes in each room. Also, Longden hosted a couple of weeks ago on a Thursday, the Temple City Strategic Planning is going to host it again on this Thursday, and it's to get input from the public. And I would strongly recommend that people in Temple who live in Temple City and who are looking at the future for the next 20, 30 years, it's something where you get a chance to do input. It's something that we, the school, and all elected officials, I think, should be looking at, because it's a master plan that they're looking at. Doesn't mean they're going to accomplish stuff the first day out, and some of it may not be accomplished for 10 or 15 years, but at least they're looking at different options, which will affect us, like open parks, which affect the schools because we have school grounds, a series of other items that may affect us. Also, I went to a band meeting at the high school. I only went to one of them, a booster band meeting where they're looking at trying to raise money for the band uniforms for the Rose Parade. And hopefully, with the contributions of the school board itself, and the school foundation's already given them some money, and maybe the city may also take a hard look at providing some funds under branding and marketing, that the fundraising will become something that will help perpetuate the band and for the marching in the parade. The other one is I attended the robotics game where our Longden team won for overall championship. And one of the things that the robotics reflect, I think, is it is a program that's, even though it's after school hours, it's a program in which people demonstrate abilities to science, technology, engineering, and math. Because in this case, what happened is the basic concept was that there was a disaster. And then it took the team itself, not the coaches, which are parents, but the team itself, and these are 4th and 5th graders. And then they have to identify a community that had a disaster. They have to identify what happens with the natural disaster. Then they have to create an innovative solution to help the people prepare and be safe if a disaster should happen. And then they have to share the problem with other people, other professionals. So if in this case, they chose a water desalination program, and they shared their solutions with people at JPL and a couple other places, plus going online, doing research. So it brings together all the learning, and in one sense, it is like a Common Core subject being taught after school. And so, to me, it's something that I'd like to keep encouraging, that other schools start up robotics programs too. Also, I was pleased to be able to come to the luncheon today, which honored the Employees of the Year, and it was a nice gathering of people, and maybe something that hopefully I assume it's a yearly basis. Also, just going back to the Robotic Championship again, there's another one this Saturday, and it's going to be held in South High School, which is in Torrance at 4801 East Pacific Coast Highway. For those who have an interest, the main part, even though it starts a little earlier, usually between 10 and 3 is where most of the action takes place. And so anybody that's in the Torrance area, they're welcome to stop by and participate and watch and root our team on to victory, hopefully. They're probably the youngest group that's in the program, and they've only been, this is their second year, and they're already overall champions for the last contest that they did.
Thank you, Mr. Goldberg. And we'll go to Mr. Reed.
Thank you. Well, again, I want to acknowledge and thank Matt and Joe for their many years of service, and extend a very warm welcome to Vinson and John. I have great confidence they're going to do a great job and will help this board be a cohesive unit and make wise decisions. So I look forward to working with all of you. I also attended the California School Board Association conference in San Diego, and as Member Nolenberg pointed out, the two keynote speakers were recorded. They were very motivational and kind of different presentations that I would really encourage everybody to go watch. The one person, I didn't know you could get a PhD in gaming, but she has, and it's a psychology-related major on the psychology of gaming and the benefits that endures to the person that plays games. It was very interesting. She didn't hesitate to point out to us it's $1 billion industry that a lot of people are earning a very good living off of, doing what they really enjoy doing. The second presentation was also very motivational about thinking in things different ways, and not the traditional ways may not always be the best. So very interesting things that, again, I encourage everyone to view. I'd also like to call out room 308 students at Temple City High School. I got, I think, the best card I've ever gotten in my role as a board member, except for some of the ones from Emperor. But they wrote me a note thanking me for attending their lunch, and really a great group of students. They're working very hard, and I'm very proud of them, and really wanted to acknowledge them. Dr. Kang-Smith and I had a chance to visit and have lunch with them, and a great group of kids, and super card. Thank you. And with that, I'd like to wish everyone a very happy and safe holiday.
Next, we go to board reports regarding standing committee or other meetings. Do we have anything to report? Anyone? Okay, moving right along, Superintendent's Comments. Chelsea.
Thank you. I see in the audience our PTA parents. Thank you for all you do. We just attended our first district annual holiday luncheon, and it was wonderful to see that our district, not only are parents actively volunteering at our individual schools and as a district together collaboratively, but then we share ideas and moments with the whole San Gabriel Valley. So thank you for all you do. I know it's busy time, and not only for the year, but we thank you because what you do matters. I also want to echo both our board or all of our board members who attended the CSBA conference. I actually and remember Sabrina, we challenged ourselves on giving a homework let's see, for me it was the leadership meeting that we just had, and for you to the ASB kids, regarding Jane McGonigal, one of the speaker on the gaming. And the reason why gaming is so wonderful to mimic in a school system is that it engages in results that lead to happiness. And I know as a district, last year, I brought back the idea of positive advantage. Things that we can do to change our brain to think more positively. And then prior to that, I think 6 years ago, we began the journey of the fish philosophy. So in the back, you could see the encouragement of being there for others, choosing positive attitude, and playing. So it all wraps up into that, in which Jane McGonigal says 10 positive emotions that lead to happiness are joy, relief, love, surprise, pride, curiosity, excitement, awe and wonder, contentment, and creativity. And I was reflecting on this and sharing out with our administrators yesterday on if we could just emphasize on these positive 10 emotions, how wonderful it would be for our students and our staff, employees, and administrators within our school system. And it's wonderful because it aligns with creativity right to the 21st century learning skills and what we're doing in our facility bond with the interactive board that we're right now installing. With the LCAP, the Local Control Accountability Plan that we will be embarking, that is in line with the local control funding formula. So with the restore funding that the state has provided for us, one of the CSBA workshops that were several emphasize the LCFF and LCAP, and in which one of the workshops that I attended, both the Super, who's the State Board of Education, and her staff, and West Ed consultant, as well as in the new board workshop all day with John Bennett from School Services. What they emphasized was through this local control funding formula, the state has given us the task, the board members, so districts, tasked to take over the control of the funding and the accountability plan and be inclusive. Make sure our community, our parents, our employees, our students are all involved. And the critical point to this is you have to be courageous. Leaders right now, board members, have to be courageous in making sure that we make the right decisions for the students. So that was a great take back for me, and to also share out, and I have to say I did my homework. We did do the master thumb wrestle yesterday, and I have to say I lost on both ends. And Sabrina and I, when we did the thumb wrestle, I believe I won once and then you won, right?
I lost both.
Oh!
Sorry. I was never very good.
But it was wonderful, and one of the take back from an activity like that is, you get competitive, right, and active. You find excitement in doing the thumb wrestling. But then at the end, the connection, the physical connection, when we shake hands, when we greet, we give a hug, those all matters in making connection and being joyful. So it was a great experience. And I have to say, we have a number of holiday programs coming up, and one is a conflict with the city's strategic plan, and that is the same date and time we have the elementary concert. And I want to emphasize we have wonderful music program and performance program, And the tradition of having the high school holiday program next Tuesday is something that I don't think anybody should miss out on. And all of the Oak concerts and the elementary, it's just outstanding, as well as it gets really busy for board members next week. In the mornings, we have all the schools doing activities and performances. And there's also La Rosa Cloverly blood drive that's coming up this Saturday. So if you have the time, please go over to La Rosa. It's a part of giving that is needed for others. So thank you and happy holidays. I also want to just end with thank you to the exiting board members. And I know Matt's not here, but I want to take this time to say that I believe for the past 5.5 years that I've been here, part of the district, Matt has been the board president twice. And I have to say that he has been so supportive of all of our teachers, our classified employees, our students and administrators, and each other. And I truly want to thank him because, as you know, a lot of the decisions happen here at the table, and a lot of information is provided that's confidential in closed session. And I have to say, he is someone that has been truly been supportive of our employees. So I want to thank him for that.
Thank you, Chelsea. Now, any written communications?
Actually, I choose. In my role as board president, I received 2 letters from Los Angeles County Office of Education that basically indicate our compliance with Assembly Bill 1200, dealing with our negotiations that were concluded and wrapped up with the TCEA and with the non-rep. And it's a routine matter, but something I want to pass on to the record.